first webinar on this subject was held in November. You can access a recording of it on the support section of our website. And this webinar as well will also be recorded and put on the website. Normand's presentation will last about 40 to 45 minutes, and then we'll move to a question and answer session. When we get there, I will come back, but just so you know, use the chat feature on your website to ask questions, and then I'll repeat the questions so that everybody can hear them, and then Normand will do his best to answer them. If we can't get to all of your questions, we'll try to follow up with you individually. So now I will pass the session over to Normand.
Okay, so in November, when I did the first webinar on sentiment analysis, I did stress the fact that we need to customize a sentiment analysis tool if we want to get good results. And I thought when I presented that the first time that I should show you exactly how this could be done in WordStat, although many of the principles that I will show could be done as well elsewhere. If you have some other tools, if you have a lexicon that you want to customize, you'll be able to use the same principles if you have similar features in those tools. Now, the need to do sentiment analysis is quite crucial when you have documents for which you don't have any ratings. So if you have reviews, online reviews, there will typically be a rating from 1 to 5, 1 star to 5 stars, for example. Or if you do a survey, satisfaction score from very unsatisfied to very satisfied, but also NPS score from 0 to 10, which could then be categorized as detractor, promoter, neutral, or passive. But the thing is that what I will show you today is how to use such kind of information to try to help you customize your dictionary. Of course, you could do it without the need of a score, but when you have a score, it will help you be more efficient in doing that. So, for example, if you have done some surveys, but now you wanted to customize a dictionary for the kind of product you have or service that you provide, and you want, but you want to do that on cases where you don't have a score, for example, on social media, comments, or maybe on emails or some chats, etc. When you want to assess sentiment, you could still use some satisfaction score in order to help you guide your customization of the sentiment dictionary. And this is what I will show you, the mechanic of that. And I started, I decided to use an existing dictionary that we created. It was one of the first sentiment dictionary that we created. And actually, we have always been saying that please don't use it as is, please customize it to a specific domain. And I will show you how bad it could be if you don't customize it. I started here, and I've tried to do that because we did an experiment on that, and the data sets was available on beauty products. So what we did as a training sets, let's assume that I have a company that creates beauty products. What I do is I try to get a data set that may exist where beauty products have been assessed. And what we did here is that we collect comments from Amazon, and I actually have just a small sample of it. I think we had 5 million comments on beauty products, reviews of beauty products. So we scale it down to a sample of it, a random sample of about 100,000. Still too big for the demo because I wanted to be efficient. But we add score, and let me show you a little bit what we have in terms of score. So we have the header, which is the title of the review, and for the rating, and this is a typical rating, we have a lot of people who are very satisfied, less people who are less satisfied, and goes down, and we have a lot of people who are not very satisfied. So I could use that. I could use that and try to later to see how words in my dictionary, in my lexicon, are associated with those scores. But I decided, partly because it's for efficiency reason, but also but also for you to understand more, I decided to indeed take only 1 and 2 and 5 and ignore for now 3 and 4. I think we should still analyze those, but what I did is I recode those and I ended up with positive and negative. And what I did as well, again, more for presentation purpose, is that I try to filter those and take a random sample so that it will be almost the same, okay? And I did that because later I will show you that we will work on raw frequency, and it's easier for you to understand if we have equal proportions. So what we did is I did that as a preparation, but I also found that it is quite an interesting way. It is easier to identify words this way rather than using raw score. For many reasons, but so what I did is I saved that as a small project, and this is my project with only the positive and negative. So the binary classification is what I will use, okay, rather than the star rating, okay. And again, if I look at a star rating, I have about the same amount of 1 and 2 versus 5. Okay, 1 and 2, I would consider them as negative, 5, of course, as positive. So I will analyze the header and the footer, and I will analyze all the text. I'll be back later on in QDMiner. I'm running it in QDMiner because I want to show you something later, but I could as well have done that, all of that in WordStat. Okay, so this is WordStat. Okay, so I do have a dictionary, and let me show you how the dictionary works so that you could understand what we start with. And again, this is a pretty old version of our sentiment tool. Our newer sentiment tool is much better, I would say, but it would have been difficult for me to show you how to customize if we already done the job on that. So negative words are the lexicon of all a lot of words that we believe are negative, and they come from different sources. We import data from the Harvard dictionary, from the RIT dictionary. I think some of the Luke dictionary as well. We added some synonyms, etc. So created quite a lot of words, and there's, and let me show you, if I edit that, I will see that we have 9,000 words, 9,500 words, and here we have 5,500 positive words, okay? And we also have negation, and we look at how they are, how positive words are. For example, for positive, the word should not be preceded by negation, and this is a rule that you can create in WordStat, okay? And we set the rule as same sentence within 4 words, and here actually, initially if it was 4, we reduced that to 1. I may have explained that in the last tutorial, but let me put it back to 4, okay? Okay, so this is how it was created initially, okay? Now, we also take into account double negation. So, and we will see how it works later, but if it's, for example, not only, if it won't typically shift the valence or the tonality of the word when it's preceded by not only. If it's not only good, it's wonderful, okay? So, so there are some of those negations that may appear before that will not shift the sentiment, and we decided that we should take those into account, okay? And those will have precedence over those, okay? So now there are several tasks that we need to do. The first thing, we need to assess the words in our dictionary, okay? And if you don't have any score, what you would need to do is look at those, maybe apply those on the data sets, look at the words that people use and see how they are being used. But typically, if you could go to that, but you would have to go to 9,000 words, which is way too much. And same thing for the positive words. Maybe remove words that you think are not relevant or that may be associated with your product. But I will show you how I could do that more efficiently by using scores. And what I will do, and what I did, is I call WordStat and I say relate that to relate my results to the score, binary score, positive or negative, okay? And what I will do now is I will assess first negative words and try to see which words. So I will select them. I don't want to deal with my full dictionary. I will focus now on assessing negative words and try to see whether there are words there that I should remove or should be disambiguate, okay? So I will select that, and when you select that in WordStat, you need to increase the level so that it will go up to the level of the word. So 1, 2, and 3, and you have to remove that because this will bring it back to the second level, which is the negative word category. But if I remove that, then I will have frequency of the words. And typically what I can do as well is I can tell the software to keep a maximum number of words or maybe remove words that appear less frequently, simply for efficiency reason. At some point you want to look at all the words, but it may be more efficient if you want to do that, or if you have limited time to focus on the most frequent words. And so let's look at the 300 most frequent ones. And I will apply that, and what I will get is the frequency of all the negative words. Okay, smell, dry, disappointed, try, smell, old. So all seems to be, most of them, if I look at that quickly, they may seems to be negative. Okay, but what I will do now is I will move to the cross tab, and this is where I will get a first indication of how those words are related to sentiment. I'm looking at case occurrence, whether the word appear or not. I could look at the frequency as well. But when I do that, the fact that I have equal group, I can simply look at the raw frequency. If you don't have equal group, what you will need to do is select, if you have case occurrence, category percent. Category percent would tell you that 0.285% of the cases, the negative cases, contain the word acid versus 0.438%. Okay, so this is again one way to normalize it when you don't have equal categories. But I do have equal categories, so I will keep it at a frequency level. Okay. One thing I could do is I could try to maybe compute some statistics. I could, of course, do a chi-square that will tell me where are the major difference. But the thing is that it won't tell me whether if it's positive, well, the higher chi-square will be where are the major difference. So disappointed, yeah, clearly associated with negative, wasted as well. But at some point, I may be able to see some of those that are more associated with positive. So the best thing would be to maybe do a metric that will go not from 0 to a high number, but maybe from -1 to +1, like a correlation. And a correlation is totally appropriate here, since it is like a biserial correlation. It looks at whether a word appear or not, and whether it is negative or positive. So it's a 2x2 table, and it computes a correlation. And this will allow me to sort things, okay? Either with a positive correlation will be associated with words that are associated with positive case, and a negative correlation associated with negative case, because negative is my first value here. Okay, so but I don't like the correlation, and I will explain to you why. Because, well, the correlation is actually quite associated with proportion and frequency. And for example, if I take old, actually this is actually old is about 2/3 of the time it is associated with negative, versus 1/3 of the time associated with positive. So the ratio is from 2 to 1, right? But if I look at other ones like this one, the ratio is much higher, and I will have lower ratio that will also be much higher. And we tested many values, and if you have a chance, well, in WordStat you have it. What I would suggest is using the gamma or the summer D value. They are all available in statistical software, and they will actually be more proportional. And here it will show you, for example, those that are highly associated will be to the negative will have a high negative gamma, while the high positive gamma will be item that are associated, negative words that are associated with positive reviews. Okay, and simply, and you will see if you compare results that you get, the ranking that you get from the correlation versus the gamma, you will see that gamma gives you much better suggestions as how things are related to that. So gamma is for a ordinal value, so it will also deal with ranking scale from 1 to 5 or from 0 to 10. Okay. Another one is the summer DYX, but I prefer gamma simply because those two, and they give very similar results, but those who could, the summer, if you take the wrong one, then it's, you may get less optimal results. So gamma will give you anyway a better, a good results, as good as the summer D, and much better than our correlation. So this is one thing. And as you could see, well, there are several of those that are pretty good, but there are also those that are associated with positive score, and some of those could be hard to understand. For example, skeptic, well, incredible, maybe, well, it could be, well, it's hard to believe, and one could consider that negative, but obviously if it is used in positive sense, and indeed we can think of many situations where people will use incredible in positive way, so we should probably right away go back and remove it. But some other are more interesting. Skeptic, okay, terrify, okay, worry, okay, both this and this actually they overlap somehow, but they somehow they are associated with positive sentiment while they are in our negative. So they are not predicting the wrong thing. I want to introduce you to another metric that we implemented in version 8, which is target specificity. Actually, what it does is that it will take a single value and it will tell you how good it is at predicting this value. And it will do that. For example, let's try to predict negative because this is what we want to predict. And let's sort that again. And again, we have a very similar ordering than the gamma, okay? And the thing is that it tells me that 16% or 16 or 17% of the word incredible do predict negative or is associated with negative, while the remaining one, so 83% would be associated with positive things. And if I do that on the reverse, those words are actually associated at 98% of the time with what I'm trying to predict with my score. Which bring me to something, I don't know whether I presented that. Let me go and I will present it that when we teach about how to build a dictionary, we often presented this reference, Bankston and Xu, changing national value for raster content analysis, and we do recommend everybody to read that, because one of the things that they do is that they have a rule that tells that every single item in the dictionary should produce at least 80% of true positive. Well, I don't like to use true positive in this context because we are talking about positive and negative categories. So, but it should make a good prediction. And it tells also that if it does not reach 80%, you should probably remove it or find a way to disambiguate that. And we will see that, okay, later. So we will, and this is exactly the metric. It corresponds exactly to the metric. So all of those at the top fill this criteria. So I can ignore those for now. I may increase some of those and remove some of those negative. For example, this one, okay, and close, and several of those I may decided that I wanted to go beyond that and get better results. But I should really focus on those that have lower frequency, and especially very low frequency, which means that they are predicting the wrong thing. Okay. So and by doing that and by focusing on that, now what you could do is that you could maybe remove those words if you think that they are not they do not belong there, or you could, and let me sort it this way. Okay, let's focus now on, okay, or try to see whether, try to understand why those words are associated with positive comments, and also try to see whether some of those words could be disambiguate, and make sure that they will measure the right thing. So, and if you look at some of those words, you will find that some words, and this is the first thing that you need to do, is that there are some words that are obviously associated with your the domain, okay, and should probably be removed. For example, scars. Beauty products are actually things that will be used to remove negative effects of aging or negative aspects of, so scars, wrinkles, and things like that should actually be removed, because they are not necessarily part, they are describing maybe the product. Okay, same thing for I saw something, I saw blush. Okay, blush. If you blush, you may be embarrassed, but if you apply a blush, then it's okay. So those are clear items that blush and scars and maybe routine and wipes, which may be part of instruction, are things that should be removed. And same thing for wears, okay, or wear. Okay, so what I could do is I could take note of those, remove those. I would have to go back here to the text processing, go there. I could say Control F. Let's look at where, and I could, let's match the beginning. Okay, I could remove where, this one and this one, and let's remove those only for now. And I do that for all the words that I found that are associated with my domain that I should remove. Same thing for scars, wrinkles, etc. Routine. So, and this is how we came, last time I presented some categories of words that we found should be removed. And those are ways to do that. So here I'm reapplying my dictionary. Okay. That's the reason why I won't do that a lot. I will tell you that you need to remove those, but again, let's focus on those words. Skeptic could be quite interesting, and one way to look at how the word is being used is to, for example, look at the keyword in context, and it will show you how the word is being used. And I could sort on keywords in after or keywords in before. And this is where I will be able to see that, okay, skeptical appear 87 times, was skeptical 46 times. And if you look at that, there was a lot of positive things. I was skeptical, but, okay, at first, okay. So now I can understand why this word may be associated with positive comments. Okay, same thing for beat. Let's do a keyword in context on beat, and okay, cannot be beat, can be beat. And if I sort on keywords and before, yeah, I should see can be beat 48 times. We did implement also the same metric, target specificity. I must say that I think that we need to review that because it's not always reliable. And here, obviously, if it's not okay, if it cannot compute this, but we will fix that. But basically, it should give you the same proportion, simply looking at how many positive and negative are here, and it will tell you right away for 52. It will count how many positive, and it will give you the proportion. This is what we should get here. That's a bug that I found while preparing for the demo today. So we will work on that and likely release a updated version that will fix this issue. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it doesn't work, and we have to find when, etc. So incredible should be removed, beat. What I could do, and let me actually go back here to the keyword in context. What I could do is try to disambiguate and try to create, to remove from, keep beat in my dictionary, because I think that maybe beat should be should remain there, but I may try to identify phrases that are okay. Okay, okay, cannot beat. Okay, is usually positive, but okay, can beat. For example, let me take something that. Okay, this one. I can take this, and what I can do, this is clearly positive. I could actually add it to my positive words. It will become a phrase that will be categorized as positive. Okay, but I could also add couldn't beat. Okay, etc. Heartbeat. Heartbeat is irrelevant. Okay, heartbeat could be. I could put in a heartbeat, but heartbeat may be irrelevant. So what I could do as well, and what I often do, is I add this word to a new category that will be, that I will ignore, that will be disambiguation. Disambiguation or something else. Okay. The idea is that WordStat has a specific rule, and let me actually go back here to the PowerPoint. I think I will have to. Okay. Okay. WordStat as a set of rule that a phrase will have precedence over words. So when I have a phrase, words part of the phrase will not be categorized if the word appear alone. So beat, if it appear can't beat, if the software found the phrase can beat, the word beat may be elsewhere, but if can beat is if it's in one category, if in a positive one, it will actually categorize it there, and the words in the phrase will not be categorized. So beat will, the frequency of beat in the negative sense will be reduced. So that's one way you could disambiguate, by using phrases, and by this way, and by looking at all the phrases, like skeptic, I could say was skeptic. Okay, I could do the same with was skeptic or was skeptical 46 times. And I could right click, categorize it to a positive, actually, or maybe disambiguation if I'm not sure. Okay, and this way, it will only categorize it as negative when it's not was skeptical, but I know that it's more problematic actually. But and I may need a rule rather than or was a little skeptical, okay, or was very skeptical. Okay, so here I can see that there's a lot of phrases that I could use. This is where I could use also a rule. We may see that later today. But so we started with that with disambiguate words. But the way we process is that, okay, we started. Let me go back here. Okay, we started with negative words. We remove the words that are not predicting the right thing. We do that for the positive words. Okay. Again, same thing. I will keep 300 of those. I will focus on the more frequent ones for efficiency reason here. But if you have time, it's good to look at all of them. You may find some of those that are used seldom, but are not necessarily predicting what you are expecting. And again, we do a crosstab. In this case, I would reset it to predict positive, and I will look at all negative value, for example, and this is another example, star. Okay, a star if it's positive, being the star of the show. But indeed, when it's a star with no S, it means that they gave only one star. Very predictive. I could, and in my case, because it's come from Expedia, that's normal to use the word star. So I would tend to put that either in if in the negative dictionary. So I would move it to negative size or maybe ignore it. Okay. But now I could also see maybe some items related to the context returning returns, very much related to the fact that the person was not satisfied. So even if return, well, if it was an hotel, return may be good. Okay, I will return, definitely return. But if it's a product you order online, return becomes negative, and they are in a positive dictionary, but indeed maybe we should remove it, especially when we are dealing with that kind of context. Okay, same thing for contacted. Okay, and I think that contacted, emails, anything about communication or phones or call, okay, will be associated typically with negative comments. Here it's only 22% associated with positive comments. So I can identify those. So you do this, and you may even create some categories associated with that. This is what we did in terms of online products, ordering online products. Those words should probably be in a negative category by themselves that you could disable or enable. But once you've done that, there's another thing that you should do, is that you should try to identify, well, the first thing we did is that we identified words in our dictionary that were not predicting what we were trying to predict. The next thing is to try to find words that are not in our dictionary that we should add to our dictionary. And the way to do that is to activate the dictionary, make sure that you only select category. Okay, so it will, even if it's at the third level, it will bring back to the second level. So basically, if I apply that, what I will get is a frequency of positive and negative only. And we should get some scores here, okay, positive and negative. But what I should do is tell the software that, okay, I have that, but let's add words that occur 20 times or more, or 30 times or more. I could remove that to assess all of those. But again, here for efficiency reason and for demo reason, I will keep only the 300 most frequent. Let's do the frequency. And I will apply that. And I should be able to get those two items along with other words. And I have some negation there. One thing I should probably do is also include a negation. This way I will have 3 categories plus several hundred words, up to 300. And now I could assess how they are related, same method, how they are assessed to, they are associated with positive or negative comments, okay? Total somehow is associated with negative comments because it is, if it is 13% only associated with positive, send, prescription, money. Again, I could see some words there, picture. We did found that every time they make reference to the picture or to the ads or to the marketing, they tend to stress the gap between the picture and what they received. And I could do that by either retrieving all comments or doing a keyword in context. Okay, picture is deceiving. Okay, deceiving is definitely negative. If it should be in my dictionary, I think it is. But picture, if in this context, quite often we found that it is a good predictor. And here is, okay, when you are dealing in a specific context, you don't have to be afraid of using words that are not necessarily positive or negative, but that will predict what you want to see. And if people again mention picture, it will help you identify cases that are negative. okay? And if I look at on the other side, 5, of course, 5 stars, okay? Stays, lasts, every day, quick, delivery. Quick maybe should be added right away. I could say, yeah, quick should be in my dictionary, but some other are to understand. For example, well, for example, stays. Let's do a keyword in context on that, and now I can see that, okay, it stays. Okay, let's do a keyword in after. Okay, stays on 93 times, highly associated with positive comments. Again, we will fix the score. Let's try to see whether I can make it work. No, still doesn't work. Okay. Okay. Stay soft. Soft is positive. It's not really those, but stays in, quite frequent. Stays on. And by the way, you have a lot of noise here, 1 and 2. You may ignore those for now and focus on the most frequent one. And you could set this by right-clicking here, and you select set minimum, say to 5, and now you will be able to see those that appear at least 5 times. Okay. But you could have access to all of those from here. Okay. So basically you do that. But one thing that you should be careful, however, is I tend not to include products themselves or features of products themselves. Okay, cleanser, moisturizer, they seem to be associated with more positive comments, but you have to be careful with that. And to add item, for example, 5, of course, 5 star. I could have 5 stars, but that would be almost cheating. but indeed, people on a in social media may use 5 stars. So if I do a keyword in context, yeah, 5 blades is not good. So 5 by itself, but 5 stars is definitely something that is common expression, and you could simply add it to the positive words. Okay. And I just had it increase my prediction quite a lot because it's here. But here it's all coming from Amazon, so that's easy. But using, okay, stays on or stays in. I could add those phrases. Wife maybe not, husband maybe not, but by looking at those, I may be able to find words that should be added to dictionary. If the frequency is too low, then maybe I could do a keyword in context and try to say phrases that I'll be able to add. So by doing those 4 steps, looking at negative words that predict positive, removing those, adding, looking at positive words, looking at those that predict actually negative things, or those that don't predict too much, the positive one, then trying to find phrases and adding phrases either to the other category or maybe to a disambiguation to be ignored. By doing that, you'll be able to increase that. And so that's the first 2 steps. And then the next step is to look at all the words that have not been included. And here I simply look at 300, but I should have probably looked at more of those. I can actually identify words that could be added to the dictionary. And now, in some case, I may need it to create rules. And that could be the case for skeptic, for example. I may remove skeptic, and what I could do, let's put under here, or even here, under positive words, I will add a rule, a proximity rule, and was skeptic, and it will be skeptical or skeptic this way, after was, or after were, if, whoops, in the same sentence within, say, 4 words. Okay, and by doing that, then the positive categories will be assessed with this rule. Okay, so this is another way to disambiguate. Once I've done that, it may be useful to go back and look at the original scale from 1 to 5 and see how good it is. And the gamma will be pretty good. In this case, the target can only have one value. So if it will try to predict this specific value, so it could be a 5 versus all the rest, but that may not what you want to do. I may also want to predict middle of the scale. So from 3 and 4, or maybe 4, and it may be possible there may be some words associated with those. In this case, you could create something and try to see whether you could find, you could maybe recode some of the values and try to see there are some words specific to those. So maybe 3 and 4 together versus all the other ones, and you may be able to find words that characterize those. And I remember that looking at hotel, word like fine is often associated with middle of the scale, not very unsatisfied or very satisfied. Unless it's fine wine, then you may have a phrase, fine wine, associated with very positive score, if it is, but keep fine as a alone as something to predict, a not either neutral or a middle of the scale. So I don't want to take too much time. There may be some question. So if Tony got some question, let's try to see whether I can answer those. Okay.
Okay, if you have questions, use the chat feature, which is the little bulb on your screen, and type in your question. We have one question that somebody sent in before, which was, what do you recommend is the appropriate coverage of a dictionary to give you accurate results?
Accuracy and coverage could be almost against each other in some sense. Is that if you want to have a full coverage, you may have to try to categorize items that are somehow mixed or much more difficult to categorize. But what I would say is that any lexicon will have a coverage that could be somehow low, but it could be very accurate. But the thing is that if it only gives you information about half of the comments, it may not be as useful. So we tend to, when we assess dictionary, we tend to get something like at least 80 or 90% coverage. Make sure that we find something in those items so that we can actually make sure that we that we have a good coverage. And by the way, what I could do, let me apply, and let's assume that my dictionary is good. I will apply it, okay? I will set it to the first level, okay? I will apply it. Then I can save it, but then I can have the software to bring me all response for which I don't have anything, okay? And I can save that and create a project out of that. Okay, here I should have removed the add words so that I will only keep those two categories. And I know that in this case, it says that I have 90% coverage here and 71%. This is typical. It is very positive things. The vocabulary is more limited. Somehow it's more difficult to get a good coverage on negative, but we have negative in about 71% of all the comments. But I could retrieve let's do that on paragraph that contain no keywords. And by doing that, it will bring me probably a quite big data sets, several thousand. And what I could do is save that and try to analyze it and try to see what is in there that was maybe hidden by the fact that it was part of a the full data sets, but by analyzing it solely, I may be able to increase my dictionary. So I can save that, and I think I can stop that, but I'm not sure whether I can stop and go back to the results. I think it will not go back to the results if I stop. So let's keep it there. So I have almost 14,000 paragraphs for which I don't have anything, okay? And of course, some of those are quite small. I may have some noise here. And good is, strangely enough, I think good is not, or great should be in my dictionary, but it's probably not. So that what I could do is I can identify those. I think that I may have removed those for the demo, but I can save that. And I can save that into maybe an Excel file, then import the Excel file and create a project out of that, because I can do I have the sentiment here? It's not here, but what I can do is I would have to simply add this binary variable. So it will tell me whether if it comes from a negative or a positive, and then use that as a way to increase my coverage. Okay. So, but initially, if you have a lexicon and it only covers, say, 20% of the case, it's very easy to be very, very accurate. And if you have a coverage of 80%, it will be much more difficult to be more accurate, because you will have to include more words, and some of those words will be ambiguous. Because actually, if you tell me 10% coverage is good, I could probably create a dictionary that will be almost 100% accurate. But very difficult if you want to do a 90 or 95% coverage. Okay.
Okay. Can you tell me, how did you prepare the binary variables?
Okay. I will have to quit that. Okay. And I will. I did that in WordStat, and WordStat has some extra features that are not. So, okay, let me save that, and I will open WordStat and show you. Okay, so okay, I will take the original one. Okay, so this is 100,000. So here I have ratings. I first look at that. Okay, statistics. Okay, and what I did is I recoded 1 and 2, and then 5 into 1, and this is 2, and 3 and 4 were recoded. So I'll do that. Transform, recode. And I did 1 and 2. I will store that into a new variable that will bind bin2. Okay, 1 and 2 will become 1, 5 will become 2, and 4 and 3 will become missing. Okay, so this that was the first step. Okay, it will take a few seconds. Should not be too long. I hope so. Yeah, my computer, I think it's slower when I run from a web demo. Okay, so if it did restructure, had the variables, and now it compute the values. Okay, so we have some missings, 1 and 2s. Again, if I look at the statistics of bin, what I get is this. Okay, but I have too many, so this is one way to do it. But then what I did is I create a random value, and this is what I did here. And to do that, I click transform, compute number, and selection. And what I did is something that allowed me to do some mathematical transformation. So I have a function that called uniform, and I put 1,000. And what it did is that it created a variable and entered those values. And then what I did is I filtered. And the filter was, okay, let's binary be equal to positive. So that will be, no, actually, sorry, because I have to select it instead bin2. equals 2. Okay, so I have here 65,000. So I could say, let's search for if selection is lower than 200. I have 12,000, almost there. I have to go to 14,000, I think. So 220. So basically, I did that, 220. Okay, that's good enough. I don't, and what I did is I simply said bin is greater, is, I think I have, is not empty. And let me see. And this, no, filter, I think is greater than 1 or 0. And I should have, no, sorry, or. Okay. I did apply to filter. I don't remember exactly if I did that, but I did apply filter this and this or this, and by doing that, then I export that to a new project, which was this one, and I ended up with the proper value. I could have done also with transformation if it's equal to 5 and selection less than 220, then code that as 2, otherwise as missing. Okay, so that's the kind of transformation that could be done to create this kind of project. Any other question?
Yes. How do you deal with emoticons?
Okay, in WordStat, we did implement, let me go back in WordStat. Okay, we did that in 2 different ways. Well, first, there may be those text version, so with columns and parentheses, okay? And what we did is that we have a feature that will convert emojis. So I think that they are called emojis, while the graphic ones are called emoticon, right? So this one will search for the most common emojis, okay, and it will transform that into a text version of it. So it will be, I don't know exactly, smiley or something like that, or but it will clearly be identified as an emoji something, okay, as a word. And we did the same thing for emoticon. In this case, because WordStat 8 can actually call Python scripts, what we did is that we create a Python script that will look. Okay, sorry. I think it's the reverse. Actually, yeah. Those are transformed into text, but we have a feature that will convert the emojis. The honestly, if I'm not sure about that, I know that we deal with both of those, and this is one way that we transform those. But there are also another tool that will convert those. It may be during the import. I don't remember exactly, but it will convert the characters into a name like that will indicate what kind of emojis or emoticon it is. Okay, so I will have to double check, and we'll get back to you to the person who has this question. If I will have to review that with my programmers to see which one does what. Okay.
Okay, we'll send out an email to everybody who's on the call to how to do that. So with the last question, how will the software categorize a phrase, for example, not really very good? In this case, the negative is 3 words before the positive word.
Okay.
So Not is
Okay.
3 words before good. Can you please show us an example of something
Yeah.
similar?
Okay. So basically that would be with rules. Let me actually reopen the binary version. Okay. Which is smaller. Ignore. And I will okay, analyze that. And here, okay, not good would be this. Okay, positive words after a negation in the same sentence within 4 words. So if I do that, let me do it. I will analyze it at the second level. Or no, let me do it as shown. As shown is I will get those 4 categories, and to be ignored will be shown here, but I will get some results. And basically, this is what it will do. Not really, but what we found actually. Okay, so not good. If I do a keyword in context, it will bring me those. Okay, and you'll see that no complaint on cleaning ability. I cannot ability. Okay, not okay. And this is how we deal with that. So the rule. What we found, however, is that when the negation is immediately before, it is clearly associated. If it does shift, actually for positive, and you could see that. Okay, not good. When I deal with negation up to 4, it actually predicts that it's negative, even if it's a positive word that is being categorized. And but there are some situations where negation appear before the comment overall is positive. It may be for some different reason. But this one is interesting because this one is actually not as clear. This not bad should be more positive, but indeed it's not. It's more often negative than positive. And we found that if I use a distance of 4, 3, or 2, most of the time it will be associated still with a negative comments. It's really the positive, when it's immediately before. So we change in the latest version of WordStat. We actually, after being analyzing a lot of the data sets, we found that negations do shift when it is immediately before, but it does not necessarily shift when it is 2, 3, or 4 words before. In English, it's rather easy. Most of the negations occur before. It's not always the case, but most of them appear before. So that's the reason why we have that rule. In some other language, it's not as easy, but it's an empirical observation that we did is that for negative words, typically we should. Whoops, sorry, we should not do that. I should undo that. Undo. I can actually set the distance to 1, and I will actually get a better result, a better prediction.
Okay. Well, thank you. So our time is up. If you and Normand, the response to that was perfect. Thank you for the answer.
Okay.
So this is the end of the webinar. We've recorded the webinar and it will be posted on our website. 2 things. If you have other questions on this subject, you can send them to us on the contact us link on our website. And also, if there's a subject that you would like us to cover in a future webinar, also send it to us in the contact us link on our website, and we will put it in the hopper and see if we can and try to get to it. So, and follow us on Facebook, on the website, and on LinkedIn, where we'll announce future dates and times of future webinars. So,
Tony, I may have just one thing to add
Sure.
for those who are still there. The reason is that one thing that we found also that it was quite useful is that there are words that whether they are preceded or not by a negation, they will remain either positive or negative. Negation will not act as a shifter, and using negation will actually do that. And one thing that we found in the case of advertising, but also payment or warranty, for example, compensate. Whether the person was compensate or not compensate, the idea of compensate does trigger, does express the idea that there was a problem. And we found that compensate, warranty, and refund, for example, are always associated with negative comments, whether they are preceded or not by negation. So we did found that some of those words should not be affected by, so we move them from the negative or the positive to a separate category within the negative or the positive, so that they will remain either positive or negative, no matter whether they are followed or preceded by negation. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone, and look forward to our next webinar. Have a good day.
Bye.